Welcome back. This is day 3 of 27 of Black and Briefed. Our history is on the ballot. Today, we're starting with one of the most important and most dangerous Supreme Court decisions in U.S. history, Dred Scott v. Sandford. In 1857, the Supreme Court was asked a simple question. Could a Black man, formerly enslaved, living in free territory, be considered a citizen of the United States? And the court's answer was no. Dred Scott, born into slavery around 1799, was owned by Dr. John Emerson, a U.S. Army surgeon who took Scott with him to free states, including Illinois and Wisconsin. When Emerson died, Scott sued for his and his wife's freedom, arguing that having lived in free states, he should remain free under Missouri's once free, always free doctrine. Though he initially won, the decision was overturned, and he took his case all the way to the Supreme Court. In what is widely considered the worst Supreme Court decision, the court ruled that Black people, whether enslaved or free, were not citizens. They said, and I quote, that Black people had no rights which the white man was bound to respect. And that language is not exaggerated. That is literally in the opinion. Legally, this decision did 3 things. First, it said that Black people could never be citizens under the Constitution. Second, it said Congress had no power to ban slavery in federal territories. And third, it made clear that the law was willing to protect property, even when that property was a human life. Now, this wasn't just about slavery, it was about power. The court was deciding who belonged inside the Constitution and who existed outside of it. Now, here's why this case still matters. The 14th Amendment later overturned Dred Scott and established birthright citizenship. But the idea behind the Dred Scott case, that some people are permanently excluded from full belonging, well, it never really disappeared. And you see it very clearly today with what's going on with immigration and customs enforcement, attacks on citizenship, who gets constitutional protection, and in the debates around what constitutes a real American. Now, quick power check. This wasn't a law passed by Congress. This was on the Supreme Court. One decision by 9 justices reshaped the country and helped push it toward civil war. That's why courts matter. Judicial decisions don't just interpret history, they actually create it. The Dred Scott case reminds us of something uncomfortable. The Constitution didn't always protect us. Sometimes it was used against us. And every expansion of rights since then has come from pressure, resistance, and refusal to accept exclusion as permanent. Tomorrow, we'll talk about how voting rights were dismantled much more recently than people realize, and how those decisions still affect us today and will affect us going into the midterms. Your voice matters. Use it in 2026.